Provincial Route 26, Pinghe Highway, is the only roadway connecting Kending to the rest of Hengchun Peninsula. However, the frequent power outages here, due to strong seasonal winds and typhoons, greatly raise the risk of deadly accidents. In response, National Premier Su Jianchang called for the already approved 10-year power cable undergrounding project to be completed in just 6 months. The tight schedule, high summer temperatures, and high vacation traffic volumes made the Premier's request a tall order to fill. Can it be done? Its thriving economy and scenic attractions make the southern city of Pingdong a world-class travel destination. Pinghe Highway connects Pingdong both to Kending and the Southern Cape and to the country's Pacific coast. This highway, used by over 10,000 travelers each day, will soon become the stage for a project that many thought couldn't be done. Mount Dawu has long been Pingdong's sacred mountain. Since its completion in 1938, Gaoping Bridge has brought eager job seekers and tourists to the Hengchun Peninsula. It was near Mount Dawu in 1991 that then Pingdong magistrate Su Jianchang launched a tree planting program which transformed county roads into green corridors. However, today, the mature trees now compete for space with highway power lines, which are also highly vulnerable to typhoon and wind damage, causing power outages with wide-reaching effects. Super Typhoon Meranti hit the Hengchun Peninsula in 2016 with winds over 300 kph, wreaking havoc across southern Taiwan.
I moved to Centennial 26 years ago. We regularly lost power during typhoons, sometimes our internet and phone too.
These problems inspired the Highway Bureau's Pinghe Highway Cable Undergrounding Project, which aimed to replace above-ground power lines with 141 kilometers of underground power cables, from Shuidiliao to Fenggang along Highway 1, and from Fenggang to Hengchun along Highway 26. Also, new trees and bushes on median islands along the route would be planted. Beyond the practical benefits, the project would give travelers new unblemished views of the coast, delivering an aesthetic upgrade and boost to the peninsula's tourism economy. The official plan was to finish the project before the busy Lunar New Year break to minimize the impact on holiday travel. But that would require completing all work in just 6 months. When I received the project, my first thought was how to organize subcontracts. After talking with our team, we set Shuidiliao as the divide, with subcontract 1 covering southern to northern Pingdong and subcontract 2 covering Shuidiliao to Chaozhou. However, it was subcontracts 3 and 4 that posed the biggest challenge. The Bureau's 3rd Division chose to divide the project into 4 sections to meet work deadlines. Although contractors stepped up quickly, a raft of challenges stood in the way. There were shortfalls in manholes, handholds, and other critical materials that, if unresolved, would throw everything off schedule and possibly lead workers to quit the project. In response, Bureau Division Chief Wu asked Taipower and the 4th subcontractor to a project coordination meeting. However, Because the issues touched on non-engineering issues as well, the meeting couldn't achieve a breakthrough. It was fortunate then that MOTC Deputy Minister Yen Bo-chun willingly stepped up to lead the project at just the right moment. Traveling over 1,000 kilometers round trip from Taipei to oversee the situation, his twice-monthly site visits ensured work proceeded on schedule and the project would be completed on time.
We hit a bottleneck almost immediately. The man and handholds hadn't been delivered. The workers and equipment were all on site, but there was no work to do. That's when I took the initiative and asked Taipower President Yao-ting Wang to come to Chaozhou Pingdong for a meeting. I think President Wang appreciated our sincerity and so committed Taipower to supply the man and handholds needed for the project and to maintain supplies on site sufficient for 2 weeks of work. It was this commitment that allowed work to get underway.
Taipower's help securing manholes, handholds, and other materials allowed project work to regain momentum, with project teams working full tilt to make up for lost time.
This project involves undergrounding over 40 power lines, so the more lines you have, the deeper you have to dig. The deeper your trenches are, the more difficult the work is, and the more safety issues you face.
Southern Taiwan is a sun-baked hothouse in July, but project teams have no choice but to sweat it out and continue working. It doesn't take much to succumb to heat stroke. Heat stroke, while slowing work, can't completely derail progress. However, a typhoon alert would grind work to a halt. Project managers have little choice but to squeeze as much extra work in beforehand. Fortunately, although bringing heavy rains, this typhoon didn't make landfall. Work pressed on despite the downpour in order to make the 6-month schedule. But heat and weather weren't the only challenges. Summer is peak travel season in Taiwan, and a time when many vacation in the Hengchuan Peninsula. The heavy traffic volumes lead to long backups and hot tempers. Keeping traffic moving thus took on an equal importance. The Highway Bureau and Pingdong Traffic Police Brigade drew up a plan. The police committed to increasing on-duty officer numbers and establishing offset lanes to help keep traffic flowing. Halting construction work on holidays and implementing offset lanes significantly improved holiday traffic flows on Ping'e Highway. While helping ease traffic jams, stopping project work on holidays led to serious delays in project progress. To bring work back up to schedule, project teams would need to begin working around the clock. However, the new non-stop schedule was not enough to catch up. Our 4 contractors had 26 teams working on this project, but we quickly realized that the amount of work they finished each day wouldn't be enough to reach our target for the end of October. So after close discussions with our contractors, they increased the number of active teams to as many as 52. With the extra manpower, these 52 teams got the project back on schedule. With the infrastructure now installed, the Bureau handed off to Taipower the job of laying new power lines, which involved wiring cables through the new pipe network and hooking up Taipower customers, before finally removing the now redundant utility poles. But one more thing needed to be done before the switchover. At the stroke of midnight, streetlights and roadside shops suddenly went dark. The darkness of Limnor section of Highway 1 was pierced only by the flashlights of over 100 Taipower technicians, busily working to switch homes, shops, and other customers over to the new underground power network. Along this 3-kilometer section of highway alone, more than 1,000 customers needed to be switched over within 7 hours, with no margin for error.
Every day it was a race against time. In each section, no matter how late it got, we wouldn't stop until we were finished.
At dawn's first light, the toll on Taipower workers was hard to miss. But the concerted effort had managed to restore power a full 1 hour ahead of schedule. Drivers navigating morning rush hour had little clue that the power line undergrounding project had been completed a mere few hours earlier. With a successful switchover, work to remove the utility poles could begin. In the 2 weeks remaining, 2,000 Pinghe highway utility poles would need to be removed. Removing over 100 poles a day called for yet another Herculean effort.
Why extension cranes? Because their long reach gave them access to all of the poles in the area, and reduced removal time in half. Based on this, I estimated we could remove 120 to 150 poles per day, which would let us finish removal work on time.
Contractors contributed based on their respective specialties. If A was proficient in cable laying and B was good at connection reconfiguration, they'd be tasked accordingly to lay in cables or reconfiguring connections to reduce implementation time.
The Pingdong Traffic Police Brigade took advantage of the project to install a new uninterruptible power supply (UPS) network and AI-enhanced traffic light system to further improve traffic flow and safety.
As part of the highway tree planting project, we installed AI-enabled cameras to collect inter-vehicle distance and congestion data for use in optimizing traffic light timing and transforming Pinghe into a smart highway.
With the cables now laid, the Highway Bureau's 3rd Division again took charge to lay new asphalt and beautify the road environment. Work to relocate cables below ground had taken a toll on road surfaces, leading to bumpier rides for cars, motorcycles, and other vehicles, and inconveniencing local residents who use the highway on a regular basis. Thus, the 3rd Division made it a priority to give road surfaces a new layer of asphalt to improve everyone's driving experience. At the time, I'd planned to be 50% finished by the end of November, but then we learned the public had even higher expectations. So, we reviewed project plans and asked our contractor to add another asphalt concrete AC team to get the job done sooner.
They notified us that work would start on September 12th and end on the 15th of November. They finished up pretty early. It's the 11th today, and road surfacing work ended yesterday. I noticed they were working pretty much around the clock. They finished scraping work in just 2 days. They went south one day and north the next, starting at 8 a.m. and working into the night. They closed up shop around 10 p.m., and they were still out there working. They maintained that pace, and all the poles were gone in 2 months. Really efficient.
November brings autumn and cooler temperatures everywhere in Taiwan, except for the tropical Hangchun Peninsula.
Our work days are 12 hours at minimum. Laying AC is challenging because the material is hot, 100 degrees or higher. It's a pretty detailed job, and we really hope people are happy with our work. It's truly a lot better than before.
Steam rises from the newly laid asphalt concrete. Work teams are holding to schedule, unwilling to fall even a little behind. The installation of road reflectors marks the end of the 4-month cable undergrounding project. It's 8 a.m. on November 24th, and we've just finished laying all 128 kilometers of our asphalt concrete. We finished this up 6, nearly 8 weeks ahead of schedule.
It was truly a moving sight. November 24th, early morning, still the middle of the night. Houses were darkened and quiet. The whole area was silent. The road was empty except for our workers and the asphalt pavers moving steadily forward, laying section after section. It was a moving sight. By the time dawn arrived, the entire road had been paved. This mission impossible had actually been achieved.
As most Highway Bureau staff are engineers and unfamiliar with trees, the 3rd Division turned to the Taiwan Forestry Research Institute for help.
We selected 5 native tree species, including Chinaberry, bishopwood, the oilnut tree, tropical almond, and sapataceae.
Over 700,000 new trees were planted, with each tree and each sapling rigorously selected. The numbers of trees provided by TFRI and Taiwan Sugar, while huge, were still not enough. 3rd Division colleagues turned to suppliers further north for additional supplies of bishopwood, tropical almond, and sapataceae, as well as the bushes needed for median islands. The mature Chinaberry, bishopwood, and oilnut trees being planted here were all carefully selected by TFRI. Each had been prepared for transplantation 2 to 3 months in advance, with root balls used to ensure tree health. The new root growth already showing tells us these trees will be ready to take up water and nutrients after transplantation. To ensure their safety and beauty, the sapataceae, silk floss, and pingpui trees, originally lining Ping'e Highway, were temporarily relocated to Mount Dawu, Shirtoshan Park, and Pingdong Veterans General Hospital, a further reflection of the 3rd Division's forethought and thoughtfulness. Before median bushes can be planted, the weedy soils currently there must be removed and replaced with an appropriate sandy medium. Once finished, jungle geranium, redlip, Texas sage, and other showy bushes are ready for planting.
I live in Kaohsiung City and have always enjoyed my motorbike ride into work in Pingdong. I notice the change in scenery every day, and the mahogany trees and jungle geranium make the entire stretch more beautiful. Renovating the worn brick sidewalks gives the road a fresh new look, and for us retailers, really upgrades the overall ambiance.
The 3rd Division deserves much appreciation. Without their good work on the pipe network, we couldn't have installed new cables and finished the whole project in 6 short months.
The fact that all of our project partners focused their expertise and effort on completing this project was crucial to achieving these results. With spring's arrival, trees along Ping'e Highway bud with vibrant new life, thanks to the 3rd Division's continued efforts. With project work now a memory, fresh new scenic vistas await every eager traveler, inviting them to slow down and enjoy. After half a year of concerted effort and working against the challenges of time and inclement weather, the 3rd Division's Road Maintenance Department has something truly remarkable to show you: the longest green highway in Taiwan. Looking ahead, the Highway Bureau's engineering team looks forward to using this experience to promote powerline undergrounding nationwide to create urban landscapes that reflect both power grid resilience and green aesthetic charm.